Yes, Limbazi Nalukoola Unonga ye Member of Parliament elect ye wangula Kaluke Kawempe North just week on this very week on Thursday. Oluvanyuma lwa Nalukoola kawangula NRM as a party esazeewo negamba nti kugenda mu kooti okusinziira ku Central Executive Committee ya National Resistance Movement. Ebudde netegeeza eggwanga nga bwesazeewo okubanga egenda mu kooti oluvanyuma lutabeera satisfied ne results ezaava mu kalulu ke Kawempe ketumaze wali. That's why we saw the council Elias Liyimbazi Nalukoola winning it with the highest margin. Nalukoola yafuna obululu 17 plus. Then owa NRM Farida Nambi nafuna obululu just 8 bokka. Naye Central Executive Committee ateno this Central Executive Committee ajikulira ye president, the chairman of the NRM Basketball Tula yesterday. Of course Friday babadde Central Executive Committee yabadde inakaseero gye yatudde nesalawo nti akalulu ke Kawempe balina kubanga bagenda mu kooti okufuna obwenkanya because ti akalulu kano kabaddemu a lot of violence, kabaddemu violence ey'amaanyi nnyo era abalonzi abasinga tebasobodde kugenda kulonda. Okusinziira ku NRM, NRM egamba nti these are the resolutions za NRM zigamba nti at its 16th meeting held on Friday 14th March 2025 in Kevin, the fourth Central Executive Committee of the National Resistance Movement Party received and discussed the results of the Kawempe North by-election. Aware of the pillars of the National Resistance Movement NRM organization, political parties such as patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation and democracy, cognizant of the fact that peace, stability and security that Ugandans enjoys today was attained out of a protracted people's struggle. Mindful of the danger that the country might face or degenerate into of these kind of undemocratic behaviors, and the practices are not checked. Noting that the acts of violence that were reported in the several polling stations within Kawempe North constituency were carried out by stations within Kawempe North constituency were carried out by the supporters and sympathizers of the National Unity Platform. I beg your pardon. Noting that the acts of violence that were reported in the several polling stations within the Kawempe North constituency were carried out by supporters and sympathizers of the National Unity Platform, NUP political party. Noting further that the cancellation of the election results from several polling stations by the election commission disenfranchised about 50,000 registered voters from accessing their democratic rights in a free and democratic way. Now therefore, the Central Executive Committee of the National Resistance Movement NRM resolves as follows: that the party, resolution number 1, that the party totally rejects the results of the Kawempe North constituency that was declared by the Electoral Commission. 2. That the party calls upon the government to carry out a forensic audit to bring all the culprits who participated and messed up the election to book messed up the election to book as soon as possible. 3. That the party instructs its lawyers to immediately challenge the results of by elections in courts of law. That is Richard Todong Richard Away, Right Honorable. That's the Secretary General of NRM. The Central Executive Committee, SEC, the National Movement, omukyalo ne yali ayisimbyewo Nambi Farida Kigongo, taata we Farida Kigongo, sits on this committee. Though we have received the EC says despite akalulu wadde kaabamu some of these challenges, but they declared the results according to the law. Because what's the law saying? If the law says polling station eno webange inomu obuzibu, the EC has the right to government to dedicate then to declaring these results which are genuine, which are real. So NRM egamba nti akalu kabamu emivuyo mingi, bakuba abantu, abaana ba Nuupu tebakola akavuyo, then bayina genda mu kooti okuwakanya obuwanguzi bwa Council Elias Nalukoola. Bobi Wine, this is the National Unity Platform. NUP President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu agamba yes, ye awulidde Museveni yayogedde n'agamba akalo ke Kawempe NUP yakabba. N'agamba yes, Museveni watu bazenga ayogera. Even yagamba nti NUP yamubba akalo ke miliyoni emu. Bobi n'agamba naye bannange, where did the shame go? Okuswala kwalagawa. Mpulidde amawulire nti Museveni agamba nti akalu ke Kawempe North, it was rigged. Akalu ke Kawempe North, the same shameless despot who abducted our agents and supporters, beat up our people, spent days bribing people, deployed members inside the polling stations, commanded goons to raid the polling stations, changed the several DR forms to give himself 700, 400, 300 extra votes, etc. and still beat him. How can a man his age decide to go down accompanied by so much shame? Apparently, Museveni thought that he had won over some support in Kampala and other places after sending Damlia into the ghettos with billions, most of which is stolen out anyway, sponsoring propaganda against us, buying off several artists and other socialists and using them to fight us, investing in some failed politicians to abuse us on the media every day, constantly keeping his boot on our neck with abductions, arrests and beatings, etc. He's very surprised that despite spending billions on all these and other efforts, the people of Uganda have continued to reject him flat. He even sent the young people who are at the so-called skilling centers to vote, but I believe most of them voted for us. Anyway, that's Bobi Wine. Anyway, it is this same Museveni who recently shamelessly claimed that we rigged 1 million votes in the last election after he robbed a victory in broad daylight. I wrote to him challenging him to an independent audit of that election. He has never responded. We need to seriously prepare for our nation, but most importantly for our children, so that none of them ever grows into such a shameless human being. This is the NUP president, Robert Chagulanyi, commenting on the reports that NRM, they are going to courts of law over Kawempe by election. So okusinzira ku gundi this Bobi Wine agamba no Museveni taswala n'okuswala, just Museveni taswala ku myaka gye, era tulina ssabira abaana baffe kulaba nti ddala tebasinkanye tebakuze ne bafuuka kino ekintu. So we need to, this is what is happening in politics, and of course if you're watching us out there, I want to get your comments. What do you think? What do you think nti Museveni agamba nti akalulu bakabba? That's what the government is saying. NUP yabba akalulu. NUP yabba ki? Yabba akalulu. Era essaawa yonna bagenda mu kooti okulaba nti basazaamu obuwanguzi bwa NUP. Isi tevuddeyo neyogera tenakola comment yonna okuggyako yategeeza nti akalulu balangira omuwanguzi kusinziira ku biragiro biki, engeri gyebigenda biragiro kyebiraga according to what the constitution says. So ebyo bye tulina okuva Kawempe nti okuggyako, this is not the position, because as a party complaining, the party eri mu buyinza ye complaining, NUP NRM egamba nti batubba akalulu era yekoze ki, ye complaining egambye nti atugenda mu kooti. Era the national chairman, of course, according to what I read for you, the party, the secretary general briefed the president. That is, they briefed the national chairman, not the president of Uganda, but the national chairman. Bambulira nti party yaffe batubbye, so twagala kugenda mu kooti. Era naye n'agamba bwebanga batubba bwe bati, so tukole ki? Tugende mu kooti, tugende mu kooti, n'enduulu mu kooti, balina tubba bwe bati. So party as a party essaawa zino kyegenda kuzaako okulaba nga efunye obwenkanya. Yes, so I want to get your comments. I want to read your comments on social media. Where are you watching us? Where are you streaming us from? Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? Are you on TikTok? I don't know where you're watching us from. But the fact is, tusobodde okujjayo e Kawempe.
Leyo okutiisatiisa abantu tugenda kukuba muntu yenna. Togenda kukuba muntu yenna. Era abagezako Kampala bamanyi ekyabatuukako. Tokkirizibwa wadde okunkanga obukanzi oba okuneewerera engeri gye balonda